Hello. Hello everybody. Good morning. Good morning if you're in Moscow somewhere like this. Hey, hello. Hello Mary. Hi. So, this is day number 14 of this live video challenge, and we're talking about teachers and sharing some things I learned while running Teachers Teach Teachers. And this week we're speaking about control. Teachers wanting to control everything but still wanting their learners to be quite autonomous. So there are some videos saved in IGTV, and today I have a special guest. So every Wednesday and Friday I invite some guests. By the way, can you hear me all right? Yes, I guess you can if you're... Hello, Hugh.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Very good morning to you, because it's a little bit
early in the morning, I have to say.
Slightly earlier, yes. But you're an early bird. Hey, hello. So today we're going live with Hugh. Oops. I see. So I'm afraid your internet or either is not good. Hello. Yeah. So it's either your or mine internet. So guys, can you hear me okay? Can you hear Hugh okay? Hello.
I can hear
Good morning.
you, Anita. I can hear you.
Yeah,
fine.
and you're super. You're breaking up a little bit. Your video is breaking up.
Yeah.
So we're comparing
okay.
London internet, Moscow internet. Could be now I see you okay? Yay. So this is your first live on Instagram, isn't it?
It may be my first and last, who knows?
Oh, no, once you've started. No, actually live was on Instagram. I prefer them to lives on Facebook for some reason. But maybe because of the filters, you still have to learn about the filters that make everything better. So good morning. Yeah, so now it's okay.
I can live without filters.
Okay. Once you started, it's hard to stop. So thank you very much for joining us. Is that maybe a little something can be done about your internet? You're a bit blurry and a little bit breaking up. What do you think? Maybe you can reconnect?
I can try if you want. Yeah, let's try.
Yeah. I'll disconnect you. And now I'm showing everybody okay, why am I doing this? Yeah. So, good morning to you. So if you're with us here for the whole live, yeah, some wrong button, and then you're showing something you really didn't want to show. Now, my window is okay. So, all right. So today's the end of this. Okay, all right. Nice t-shirt. Thank you, Anastasia. Yay, brand new.
Hey, how's that? Is that better?
Wow. Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Oh, things you can do with just turning on and turning off and turning on the device.
I should work an IT help desk.
Yes, definitely. So this week we're speaking about control and teachers wanting to control every step of what students do. And I remembered why you are here so early in the morning, because when I was planning this live video challenge that I'm doing, and I thought that this week will be about learner autonomy and control. And I remember the first time we did a meetup for Teachers Teach Teachers, the Teachers of the Month. And you ask them how long it takes them to prepare for their lessons, and they would say 5-6 hours. And I remember your reaction. So this is why I thought of you. So where do you think this desire to control everything comes from? So
can I just ask for some clarification? So when you say control everything, what do you mean?
So for example, in the classroom, remember we're speaking about teaching with paperback course book. Okay. And they would spend hours to put it somewhere on the whiteboard to digitalize it, because they would say, I don't really know what page are they looking at right now. or, you know, doing everything, like maybe like trying to provide, maybe it's not exactly, but trying to provide with everything students might need instead of asking them to, you know, look for some materials they might need. So this kind of control.
Okay. It's quite a difficult question to answer in a way, because I think it depends on the specifics of what it is that you're talking about. I mean, teachers obviously need to be in control of what they're planning to do and where they're planning to take a lesson. I guess in terms of the planning, I'm not sure I see that necessarily as being to do with control, although I guess it can be. I think planning is partly to do with experience, partly to do with confidence, partly to do with language awareness, partly just to do with kind of habituated behavior and, you know, how much of this you've done before and how quickly you're able to do it again. I guess in terms of what you're talking about in the classroom, I think some teachers do maybe still have a kind of built-in tendency to not give students as much space in the classroom as they could do, and that maybe one of the ways in which you cut back on planning time a little bit is to leave a bit more time within the lesson where the students themselves are going to be a bit freer and keep things a bit looser in the classroom. And that sometimes, and I guess the other reason people like control is not having control can be scary. Okay. And if you're putting yourself in a situation where you're releasing a bit more control and letting the students take things where they want to go, sometimes that can lead to unexpected things happening which you might not have the experience of dealing with. So it becomes a 2 situation where you only get that experience by putting yourself in a situation where you have to deal with it, but you're less likely to put yourself in that situation if you don't have the experience of dealing with it. So, you know, there comes a point at which you just have to recognize, I need to relinquish a little bit of control at this stage of the lesson. Let students see where they want to go, and I'll just have to deal with that, scary though it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. I think I've noticed maybe a little bit from like experiencing like some lessons as a student, that sometimes that it feels like as a student, I don't have enough speaking, because I can see the teacher kind of stops the moment the speaking goes, you know, like, you know, out of their hands. We're not using the target vocabulary. Maybe we're talking about something.
That's a really crucial issue, actually. And I think it's a particular problem for Russian teachers of English, to be fair, which is this desire to see the speaking very exclusively as a way of getting students to immediately produce new language that they've just seen. For me personally, I mean, like if I'm doing a double page from outcomes, if it's building towards the conversation practice, it's lovely if students use some of the language that they've seen on the double page. If they don't, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, so long as they're communicating and they're getting their message across, I'm happy to work with whatever they come up with. And I think some teachers maybe just need to recognize and accept that it's unrealistic to always expect the speaking practice that follows some input to be exclusively oriented towards practice of that input, and just to enjoy the speaking for the sake of the speaking, you know.
Yeah.
Not such a radical idea.
Oh, it's quite a radical idea. No, actually, like the other on Wednesday, again, I have my teacher lessons are on Wednesday, and we had the topic of it was astronomy, the Braille Hubble, you know, the book for yeah. And like at that point, I realized,
that go off all over the place, that conversation.
Oh yes, because we had, so like in our group we had a colleague who actually taught blind people, visually impaired people. Yeah. Sorry?
From St. Petersburg?
No, from Moscow. She's from Moscow.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that specializes in that.
Wow, I see. So I think now when I'm talking, I can't hear you, and yeah. So and then the vice versa, I guess. So there's something with the internet. So it's good. I mean, it's good we can hear you, so we don't disconnect. And yeah, so one person actually had a telescope. Like, I mean, she showed it to us, you know, with a video, because I mean, she has a telescope at home, and you know, so there was like so many topics to talk about, and and this is like as an adult, where else I would talk about astronomy,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And this is,
Yeah, and I think, you know, as a teacher, teachers should recognize that, and they should accept that in a way this is what makes the English language classroom a very unique kind of environment, which is it's a space where you can talk about anything. But when I think of some of the conversations I've had in class, you know, it's like uh, all manner of different conversations that have come up because of the people in the room or the virtual room and what they bring to that space. And I think as a teacher, it took me a long time looking back to get to a stage where I was able to let the people in the room fully be themselves. And I think it was because when I was a younger teacher, I was very much restrained by, you know, meeting my lesson objectives, sticking to my timing on my lesson plan, feeling that I wasn't allowed to let the lesson go off on a sidetrack, worrying about what I would teach or how I would be able to teach if the lesson did go off on a sidetrack. So I think actually one of the things you can do as a teacher that really helps you to reduce that kind of controlling tendency is just get better at reformulating and rewording what students are trying to say. Okay, because I think the fear is if students go off on a tangent and they start talking about something random, you're not teaching. Okay, and that you feel somehow like you failed because you failed because your students are talking too much. I mean, looking at it now, it's a crazy way of thinking, but that's how I think I used to think. And I think around that is you participate in the conversation, but with a dual function where you're talking and listening and being engaged and being interested, but you're also making notes, thinking, I know how to say that better. And, oh, you've said that in a peculiarly Russian English kind of way. And then at the end of all that, you can bring it back and kind of say, right, now back to me and my control. And, you know, you use that, what's just happened, as a way of providing input for everybody that may be useful for them. And that allows you just to loosen up a bit, I think, when you get better at that. Because if it goes somewhere unusual, great, you'll teach something maybe you've never taught before as a result of that. You know, and that's getting stale.
Yes, yes, true. And I think there is one more thing, actually. It's not only about, you know, the language that comes up and I mean the dialect, but also the like psychological maybe side about this, because we're not used to, you know, sharing some, and not we don't usually talk about this stuff. So as a teacher, you should be, you know, able to support this conversation. So I mean, I'm now finishing the elementary book with my student, and yeah, there is a topic of love, relationships, and I think like we talk. I've never talked with a man I don't really know about love, relationships, you know, getting married, having kids.
Out, Anita, you've missed out.
Yes, I totally have. Yeah, that's amazing. But again, yeah, you need to be, you know, ready to talk about it yourself when your students are talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, no one has to say anything they don't want to.
No, but you can get carried away.
That's entirely your choice.
Yeah, thank you. And in terms of what students they can and cannot do, like, you know, like Quizlet or some things they do for homework. So sometimes when you teach adults, they would say like, no homework, and then teachers are trying to, you know, trick them into doing something at home. So, but so what do you think are the maybe you've noticed are the things that teachers tend to do instead of their students, you know, for their students, where they could, you know, give this as a task to do to them?
Yeah, a few things. So teachers tend to make Quizlet sets for the students when you could train the students to do that very easily. Teachers also often tend to do revision sheets or whatever for their students, when I think students could also be encouraged to do that themselves, especially if you're using something like Outcomes, where you've got the vocabulary builder. And the vocabulary builder is basically a beautiful source of revision material that students themselves can be trained to extract examples from, to, you know, they can do verb ending matchup exercises. And once you've shown them how to do a few of those things, that can then be their homework. You know, go home, have a look at the vocab builder for the 2 pages we did in class today. I'd like you all to write a verb ending matchup exercise, bring it in, test your little groups next week. bang, I don't have to do any preparation for that. You know, it's basically pushing the weight of that learning onto the students. And in the end, that's what has to happen anyway, because the students themselves at some point have to take responsibility for their learning. In the classroom, that's your job. You know, as a teacher, you're responsible for their input, for the mediation of that input, for helping them with their output. Outside of the classroom, you can't do that work for them. You know, you can point in the direction of the water, but they've got to go over there and decide to drink from it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, thank you. And so if they kind of like reluctant, or maybe what can teachers do to, or should they do anything if they still don't do anything?
If they're reluctant to do the work at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there can be lots of good reasons why, you know,
I know.
As you'll know from my generally failed efforts to learn Russian.
Oh, that's not true.
A lot of the time life gets in the way, okay? And it's no restriction on the teacher. Life gets in the way for all of us. And I think for a lot of our students, it's not even necessarily that they're reluctant to do it. It's just that they don't have time to do it. And I think in those situations, all you can do is, you know, stress to them the importance of trying to do some extra work at home and make it clear to them that if they're not going to do that, there may be good reasons for that. I think first you find out why they're not doing it, okay? Mm-hmm. You maybe talk about, well, is there some way you can squeeze an extra 10 minutes in somewhere in your day? After that, you basically just have to say, well, that's fine. I understand that you don't have time, energy, inclination, motivation to do this. But in that case, you've got to be realistic about what you can expect from your experience of learning English. You know, you're going to be inching along like a very slow snail. You're not going to be the hare racing off ahead with your English. So that's all you can do. You know, you can't go home with them and sit there with the gun to their head, making them do it every day. You just have to have the conversation, especially if they're adults. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. And you have to accept as a teacher, that's not your fault. You know, I think
everybody write it down, please.
You have to, you can't control every aspect of every student's life. Yeah. And if some learn faster than others, it's probably because they're doing a bit more work than others. Yeah. Not
probably,
even
yeah.
Because you taught them better or anything. It's just,
yeah.
You know,
but yeah. But that all reminds me, so what you said about learning Russian. So I shared this experience of learning Italian. I'd been learning Italian, I don't know, five years or something, you know, starting and quitting and so on, and not doing my homework, never having time for it. And then I still, like, I realized, like, while doing one of my lives on Monday, that I actually feel like kind of guilty, you know. I have this, like, you know, stigma that I was such a bad student. And then I thought, okay, I was paying for Italian, the language I don't need, like, at all. Yeah, I was like doing something, I was enjoying it. Why do I still have this guilt, like, of like being a bad student? That's definitely not a feeling I want my students to have. So yeah, maybe what you said, like, again, that, I mean, hopeless, I forgot the chunk you used to describe your Russian experience. Yeah, but then again, so you started learning a language that you don't actually need. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure where I'm getting with this, but again, like, what can we do? Like, if the students, sometimes they don't do their homework, they really don't have time for it, and others do. So there is also something like how not to make them feel guilty about not having done the homework, you know?
But by not having a go about it, but by not publicly humiliating them or berating them or kind of going, you didn't do your homework. You just treat them, you know, it happens. It just happens. And same way as you don't make anybody feel guilty about things in other bits of your life. You don't go on about it. You don't nag them about it. You don't point your finger and blame them about it. You just accept it as a thing that happens.
Yeah, still with my Italian teacher, he was extremely nice to me. I think he never, I mean, he's just an amazing guy. And he never made me feel guilty. Maybe it's, again, my thing. And yeah, so it's also like in this way when you ask students to do something and they don't do, they might be feeling guilty, and we don't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, no one died of guilt generally.
No, but it's a nasty feeling. Natalia sharing that training students create revision tests is a great idea, which unfortunately too often receives cold welcome, but she doesn't give up. I usually do. I mean, when they do it with my groups, we do it for each other. They really love testing each other. So,
I mean, I didn't say it was easy to get them to do it, okay? But as I always tell my kids with these things, in the end, when things are difficult, you've got two choices. You give up and walk away from it, or you keep doing it. And, if it's really difficult, you try and find a different way around doing it. So, those are your choices. Give up or keep going and find ways of motivating them to do it. And, don't expect them to do it, I guess I would say. You encourage them to do it, praise them when they do it well, but you don't really have a right to expect it, which is the advantage of putting them, say, in groups of 4, okay? Mm-hmm. If you tell 4 of them to kind of go home and make a verb revision sheet or whatever, collocation matchup or something, if one of them's done it, there you go, you've got an exercise. 4 of them have done it, great. So it's like spread betting. You're kind of minimizing the risk,
Yeah, thank you. So, and actually, like speaking about learning languages as we shared our stories, do you think that teachers, because they're teachers, make better language learners than other people?
Not necessarily. I mean,
and why not?
I'm a classic example that obviously isn't true, aren't I?
I mean, you still have time, don't worry.
Human nature to not always practice what you preach. Mm-hmm. You think of how many parents tell their kids, don't smoke, don't drink, don't do this. And the kids kind of go, you do? It's like, yeah, but just because I do doesn't mean you should. So I think it's partly because of that. It's much easier to preach something than it is to practice something. Partly because teachers are often busy, because teachers have lives that get in the way of their learning. Partly because we're all conditioned by our own previous experiences, and sometimes the experiences of learning that teachers have themselves may impact on their ability to approach a new language. I guess it also depends which language we're talking about. If you're an English language teacher learning English, it often depends on your orientation towards the language. The teachers I've met who are better language learners tend to have gone past the I must just do endless grammar exercises and memorize single words. The teachers I've worked with of English before who are less adept at the language they teach are often still stuck in that grammar is the most important thing and I must redo Murphy's for the 12th time. And they're stuck at sort of intermediate, wondering why they're not developing. And it's, so it depends sometimes on the way in which you view what's important to focus on. Which is why generally Russian teachers of English are quite good learners, I think. Although you stop attacking each other.
No. Yeah, I mean, what's the fun in that?
Teacher saying, can I say enter university? And I was like, yeah, of course you can. Oh, I posted it on Instagram and 3 other Russian teachers corrected me for it. It's like,
yeah,
just stop doing this, you mad people. God.
But that happens. I remember, like, I wrote when I started teaching Russian, I got really like conscious of the way how I'm using my own language, and I would, write a post, and then I would think, I'm not sure about grammar here and here and here. Like I would and I would not post, for several weeks because I was really afraid just to post a post in Russian. And then, like, I remember having posted something, and somebody like commented me that I made a mistake or something in my Russian post. Like, okay, get away. This is my.
The correct response to this.
Yeah.
Just off.
Some people like correcting, not necessarily teachers.
Yeah, I think, again, maybe this is a control issue. It's just to do with accepting and being content within yourself about the imperfectibility of the universe.
I like you in the mornings. You're so relaxed.
Stage of the day. But it's true. You have to accept that, things aren't perfect. You can't, there is no perfect. you know, and once you kind of reach that stage of acceptance, you stop correcting other people because they've used a collocation you wouldn't have used.
True.
Listen to the message, listen to the person.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is the time when we actually congratulate you on starting your own school, like online school. Yeah, so for a person who said, I'd never go online.
What was I thinking? Yeah, thank you. I'm still about alive.
That's surprising me, actually. So now you have like around 150 students, or
nearly about 126 or something starting.
100. I see. It's like, and one, I mean, you were booked out in like a couple of weeks, so
it was 10 days we booked out. Yeah,
10 days. That's a lot. That's amazing, but that's like hell of a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're starting the second year of Teachers Teach Teachers. We're starting on the 1st of June. Okay. And also like now, yeah, we got like 100 more people to the 100 we had. So it's like, yeah. Yeah.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. So in terms of like the way your school is functioning, right? You're not following a course book, yeah? So the lesson will be kind of tailor-made or dogma style?
Kind of dogma style, I'm guessing. Yeah, I guess you'd call it. It's basically each week we send a list of tasks to students that we want them to think about. Kind of by tasks, I mean, they could be questions, they could just be things we want students to think about how they're going to talk about. Okay. First week, because it's your first week, is kind of quite getting to know you oriented. And the only preparation we're really asking students to do is to have a look at what we're going to be talking about and have a think about what you wanted to say about it. So in a way, again, talking about control, I don't have a predefined or predetermined set of language that I think will inevitably come up as a result of that. I don't have things I'm necessarily expecting the students to practice. I'm actually expecting, we've got a couple of students who are doing 2 different lessons in the same week with different teachers. And we've had conversations with them where they're sort of panicking, going, but it's the same material, I'm going to know the answers. And it's like, well, they're not answers, are they? They're conversations. So you'll be talking to different people at different times. The conversations will go in different directions because they will ask different questions. You'll get different input from different teachers because we will hear and pick up on different things. And all of the input that you end up getting will be as a result of things that we hear students trying to say. So it's very much trying to make sure that what you go away with connects very clearly to what you brought with you. Yeah.
So I'm starting next Friday with you. I joined the Friday. I mean, with you, with Lewis.
Lewis,
yeah.
One of Andrew's and I's proteges. We trained on a CELTA course about 15 years ago. So.
That's super great. I'm really looking forward. And again, actually one more control thing. So you started like Lexical Lab, so this is your brand, and you are hiring teachers who would do so you know these teachers. Okay, you train some of them at least, but and what at what scale do you control what other teachers will be doing?
Not massively. So the material is basically sent to everybody, so they know what the material is. We've talked about, they've all sat in on me or Andrew teaching recently, digitally online. Margot's done a lot of online teaching herself, Lewis a little bit less. We've made sure they understand the functionality of the sites. We talk about what we're looking for, what kind of level of students we'll be dealing with, what kind of input we're looking for. After that, we leave it to them. And, you know, in a way, that's the beauty of it, because I've seen them both teach, and I know that they're both very good at picking up on what people are saying and reworking it into more sensible ways of saying things, okay? And once you know that, you just leave them to it. And of course, I could sit there and watch it and say, well, I would have picked up on this, and I would have, well, fine, do that in your lesson. You know, good for you. That's
my classroom.
My lesson. And I think, yeah, you just have to trust that people will do things well after that. It's also an issue to do, you know, talking about control again. Obviously, as a small little language school, who knows if we will get to a stage where we want to employ more teachers. We may or may not. There's always that slight fear of kind of, you know, brand dilution. And if you have 100 teachers, inevitably, there's going to be quite a wide divergence of what people are doing. So it's not something we're looking to, you know, we're not looking to become Skyeng. You know, keep it small and keep it quite tailor-made and quite bespoke and quite special in that kind of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good that they're not becoming Skyeng. We don't need one more.
Work with people you know and trust.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, actually, I have an idea. So I'll text you about it. I've been sitting on this idea for a week now, I think, but now I'll share it.
I've crushed it.
Sorry?
I hope you haven't crushed it.
No, it was very gentle. So the reason I asked about, you know, this, again, controlling the teachers, because one of the questions I'm asked, and when people want, I think, you know, joining Teachers Teach Teachers, is that, how do you know that the lessons are good? You know, how do you control the lessons? And I remember the first time they asked, like, we already like been doing it for 6-7 months. And I thought, I mean, the teachers who are actually joining this crazy idea of, you know, self-study group and teaching other teachers, I mean, they already, I mean, are better than so many teachers. But I'd never, so I've never thought of, you know, controlling what they're doing in the classroom. But like that, we started thinking, we designed this extra, help support module for teachers, and the meetups that we have with teachers. Yeah, actually, you're meeting with us next week, I think. No, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. No, in 2 weeks.
Remind me nearer the time.
I will, because actually I'm teaching in June.
Yeah,
I will. So I'm teaching in June. I'm one of the June teachers, so I'm getting the whole experience myself. So I'll be there annoying you with questions. But I think like it actually like helps. Maybe it takes some of the pressure away when teachers plan their lessons together. So now with this new year, we will be doing the first year participants. They will be doing the same pages, you know. And I think this is great when 10 people, like, and you, me, and somebody to support them, as well. That they will be like, they'll have like 90 minutes just to think together what can be done with these pages.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think in a way the answer to the question you get asked about to what degree do you control things is you created a system which is sort of self-regulating in a sense, or sort of, you know, there are controls built in through the social interaction of the participants. And so no one's, I'm guessing, going to go off and suddenly do a silent way lesson.
They might if they want to experiment.
They might if they want to experiment. And what will then happen is there'll be a discussion among the group about the relative merits or otherwise of that particular experience, and the group itself kind of moderates and molds the direction in which the group takes, I think. And if you have people at the top who are molding and moderating the kind of whole organism, you know, in a particular kind of direction, that's going to trickle down and have an impact on what people within the system are doing. So, you know, I think you don't want to be controlling people too closely. When you look at the schools or the systems where people are really controlled by teachers, like Callan or something, I mean, that's not teaching. That's not teaching. That's basically just hiring people to mechanically reproduce lines. You know, you could replace that with a fucking AI bot, excuse my French. That's not teaching. You know, as a teacher, you need to trust your teachers to be able to make their own decisions. You can talk about the decisions they made later, okay? Talk about, why did you decide to do that at that stage? Were there any other things in retrospect that you maybe could have done at that stage? And you can have those kind of discussions. But to have someone there watching you going, it's 9:27 and now you should be starting exercise 2. I mean, for me, this is really poisonous and kind of anti-educational. But that's how, you know, when a school scales up as well, like Callan or something, that's often how they impose a greater kind of control. Here's the lesson, it has to be delivered like this, it has to be delivered within this time frame. You know, all those teachers are going to be replaced by bots, because that's not teaching.
Yeah, but bots are cheaper than teachers, so.
Of course. And, you know, in the end, that's what that whole kind of the hyper platform Uberization of education will lead to bots in 20, 30 years. It really will. If what you're doing is saying, lesson one, we deliver this double page and we deliver it in this way and in this order, you're making yourself instantly replaceable as a teacher. You know, but at the same time, you're also making the likes of us more employable.
Oh, good. That's good for us. Maybe we should teach more teachers to do that. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, because we can do things they can't.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So I guess this is a very positive place to stop.
Let's stop before I start, you know, raining on everyone's parade.
No, you're so poetic in the morning. So there were, so some things you said, like some people want to write it down. And so really.
Olin, I'm just a good magpie.
Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for this early live. Good morning to you again. So guys, if you want to say thank you, you can do that now. Unfortunately, like the Instagram thing, so we have some comments on the screen if you want to scroll through them. I mean, so I think I read most of them. Yeah, but the Instagram will, the moment we stop this live, all the comments and emotions and smileys, they will disappear, and Instagram deletes all that. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to say thank you. I'll let Hugh go and tell you a little bit more about what we're doing next week.
Okay. How do I?
So if you want to, let us like.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, and see you all soon.
See you. Thank you, Hugh. Bye. I'll just go. Super. Now it's already 8 a.m. So we started our live at 7:30 Hugh's time. So this is very early. Thank you, Hugh, again, if you're watching this now. Thank you guys for being so active. So I hope I will save the live stream. So you never know with so it will be here for 24 hours and then I'll delete it. So if you want to watch it, you have 24 hours. It was a perfect talk. Thanks. You're welcome. Okay, interesting and helpful. I'm really happy about it. And that's the idea of these lives. And that's the idea of not only me talking, but inviting the the people I really love working with, or maybe through Teachers Teach Teachers, or like any teachers I believe that could maybe share something on the topic we're discussing. So next week, I'm really inspired now myself, and it's if you're in Moscow, so the sky is this beautifully gray. I like gray sky, and it's raining a little bit, and I like this kind of weather. Makes me want to think about stuff and life and teaching. So next week we're gonna speak about learning, basically like learning from other teachers about the community, how it can be helpful. And I'm gonna have 2 guests as well. I have to confirm the second guest, but my first guest on Wednesday, I think we agreed Wednesday, is going to be Natalia Ladygina. We're working together on Teachers Teach Teachers, and she's a CELTA trainer. And so what we want to be talking about next week, like all week, is about like teachers from different experiences and education and like teaching context, teaching and learning each other, maybe like some situation like CELTA, where they have quite mixed level groups and everything. So about like, is it useful or not, what can be learned there, how you can learn from your peers, how you can learn from observations and like everything like that. The idea of bots, that's the best insight of the morning. Super. Good morning, Anastasia. So that's about our plan for next week. So today is Friday. Saturday and Sunday are my days off. So I'm gonna see you on Monday for the next live. Take care. Don't forget to have some rest. And goodbye. Good morning.